Howdy YouTube viewers and gear gadget fans everywhere across cyberspace. Thanks for stopping by the MoveOTX channel of gear reviews. And in this chapter, we're still taking a closer look here at the iPhone 5C. I've had the phone for now for about 2 months. And specifically, we're looking at external battery chargers. So one of the things that everyone I think kind of complains about, like the iPhone and other smartphones, is the battery life is just basically short-lived, and people are always trying to look and find ways to extend battery life. And my workaround has been the world of external battery chargers. So I have 3 here which I think represent a pretty broad range of what's available on the market, and let's just hammer them out one at a time here. So this first one I actually got as a bundled kit from Costco for I think $70. So it's a really good kit, and I really enjoy using it. This first one here is a small, like, lipstick type of charger, and you can find these quote-unquote types of chargers for anywhere from like $12 to $25, like online and what have you. And it's basically a plastic enclosure, probably has like an 18650 sized lithium-ion cell in it, and you basically recharge with a little small USB port here, and you phone charge using the large connector terminal here as well. It does have some limitations. Okay, first of all, it's quote-unquote only 2800 milliamp hour capacity storage, so you only get maybe 2 full charges on your iPhone battery before this needs to be recharged. The second thing is it has a output ceiling of 1.5 amps. So you're not going to be able to use this type of charger on like an iPad or a Samsung Galaxy that needs like 2 to 2.5 amps of current to charge. So this is pretty much for, well, I guess my iPhone only, and I'm good with that. You know, iPhones I think only need like 1.4 amps of current coming into the USB to charge them. So to use a device like this, it's pretty straightforward. You've got your lightning connector on your iPhone, and you simply plug that in, and you plug the USB connector into the other end, and there's a little green LED that lights up and shows you that you're charging, and your charge indicator on your phone will show just that. Okay, so again, being a 2800 milliamp hour cell inside here, feeding a 1450, I believe, milliamp hour battery in the iPhone, you got about roughly a little under 2 charges, about a charge and a half or so. Okay, so that's also leads me into my intended philosophy of use. So I use all these batteries mainly as top-off devices, like at the end of my day. So I try and get into the habit of not draining the OEM battery in the iPhone more than, like, I don't know, down to 20-30%, and it just, that just is my philosophy of use. So I don't like stream movies, or I'm not a heavy internet web surfer using the iPhone. I just use it for basically taking calls and using the GPS, that kind of thing. And as a top-off device, perfectly okay. The cool thing about this one is it's lightweight and it's reasonably small. You can pocket carry this in your coat pocket or a purse or whatever, and you're basically good to go. So sometimes using like Shopkick and Power Hungry apps on the iPhone, I found this to come in handy on the go while I'm using it. So that's pretty much there on that one. The next one I want to talk about is this much larger Sony. Now, these are both part of the Sony Cycle Energy product line, and I think this one represents a much higher end on the scale, both dollars and feature-wise. So a battery pack like this will run you anywhere from $60 to maybe $100. Okay, so I just happened to get that good deal at my local Costco. But you can find these and similar types of packs. Now, the cool thing about this one is it has 2 charge ports on it, so you can charge like 2 devices. The other thing about it is, number one, it's a much higher storage capacity. So you've got 10,000 milliamp hour capacity within the cells here. So doing some simple math, 10,000 milliamp hour divided by 1450 in your iPhone battery, there's the number of theoretical charges you're going to get out of this particular pack. Now, we're ignoring circuit efficiencies and circuit efficiency losses and things like that, so just on a theoretical scale. So I use this one particularly on a week and a half travel during the holidays, and I just, again, using it at the end of my day as a top-off device, it works totally fine. So this one's a little bit different, a little more complex for using, though. You simply plug into any one of the ports and you press the main power button, and you're going to see that amber LED flash a number of times. Now the number of times it flashes indicates the charging level. So 3 flashes for a full battery charge, 2 flashes for a half, and then 1 flash for a lower cell stage. Okay, and you simply turn it off with the same button, and it powers everything down. Let's see, the other thing about this, the nice thing about this one, in addition to having a higher capacity, is it also has a higher output current. Okay, so this one will pump out 3.6 amps of current to your devices. Okay, so that can be used to recharge iPads, which need like 2 amps, Samsung Galaxies, for example, which need closer to 2 amps as well. So that's actually a nice thing about this one. It is big, it's bulky, and it's heavy though. Okay, and it also takes a lot longer to charge because you're filling up 10,000 milliamp hour batteries, charging it off the wall. So same convention as the smaller one. You simply charge a USB plug into that terminal there, and it recharges the batteries. Okay. Now this third one here, shockingly, is my favorite. Okay, so, and I'll allude to that a little bit more, but this is a Rayovac 4AA external battery. Okay, now I bought this one for $12 at my local Home Depot. I think it was a Black Friday type sales event, and I figured, oh, what the heck, for 12 bucks, how could I lose? Okay, it also comes with 8 alkaline batteries as part of that kit overall, but as you can see here, I'm using it with Eneloop cells. So same type of thing, but instead of recharging it from a USB, you simply replace your batteries. And same type of thing, you basically plug it in and you're good to go. So this one here lights up the LEDs green that you can see there. One of my major complaints about it is this connector is a little bit finicky. I don't know why, if it's just mine is defective or whatever, but it still works. I've managed to just live with it, and it still works, no problem. Again, I use it as a top-off device. If you're like me and you have stockpiles of Eneloop batteries that you carry with you, like out of town for your various flashlights and electronic devices, then this is a really great affordable solution. Okay, you can get bricks of Kirkland or Duracell batteries at Costco. You can get a multi-pack of Eneloops at Costco for a reasonable price, and you just stockpile them up and carry them with you, and you're good to go. So the cool thing about being, unplug it here, the cool thing about being a 4AA design is I was able to basically hotwire the circuit using one of these 4AA cell caddies, and I was able to take some measurements on the Fluke. So the key points here is, number one, when the device is charging, it's only drawing 400 milliamps from the batteries. Okay, so that means you can use alkaline, off-the-shelf Duracell or Energizer or whatever alkalines from your local corner drugstore. You're not going to overtax the cell chemistry with a high current drain. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing is, when the device is on standby, the circuit in here does not draw residual slow drain power from your AA batteries. Okay, some electronic devices today do that, some don't. It's hit or miss whether the devices of today do that or not. In this case, it doesn't. Okay, now how I was able to validate that was, again, using my AA carrier, hot wiring it with the pigtail leads that are on there, and actually measuring idle current draw with the Fluke, and the numbers I was measuring was like 0.01 amps for like a second or two when you first put the batteries in, and then after that it drops to essentially 0. And to further validate that, what I've got here, I'm going to turn my meter on. To further validate that, so these Eneloops have been in this device for 2 months, and I've just let them sit, about a month and a half to 2 months. I just let them sit and whatever. Okay, and I think I ran this recharger for about a minute or two, just to double check it, make sure it worked and everything was hunky-dory, and then I just set it aside in a drawer and let the batteries just store dormant. And under that type of scenario, if it were a high-ish drain device, these batteries' voltage would drop down to like the nominal 1.2 volts pretty quickly. So we're maintaining 1.33 volts in storage for about a month and a half to almost 2 months, or so about a month and a half. 1.32, and we'll do one more here, 1.32. Okay, so comparing that with a fresh set of Eneloops that I sat in the same drawer right next to it, okay, these unused or freshly charged batteries are at 1.35, and here's a 1.34. Okay, so the key point here is this device does not drain batteries when you store it in there, or does not appreciably drain them. Okay, again, I used it for like 5 minutes or so just to validate and check everything, making sure everything's running. So after 5 minutes, the batteries have dropped down to 1.33 volts, and what that means is you can go ahead and store your batteries in the device and not really worry about them draining or trickle draining. Okay, so what that means is you can use the device as a battery storage case. So if you're like me and you use your phone on the go, maybe you want to stow this away in your backpack, or stow this device away in your backpack or your purse, you can go ahead and do that without fear of it draining your batteries. So it's just a side. I don't know if they did it on purpose, but whichever, if it was purposely designed that way, but whatever, it's good to go. Okay, so those 3 green LEDs that you're seeing there will slowly dim down to 2, down to 1 once these cells deplete. And I'm going to ballpark it here, ballpark estimate, you get about maybe 1.5 charge cycles on your iPhone from the set of Eneloops. I don't know if alkalines run longer. That stands to reason. I think they do run maybe slightly longer, but I'm not exactly sure. I don't actually use the device with alkaline batteries. I just use them with, like you see, Eneloops, and I'm good to go. The final point on that is, when this device does fully drain, it only drains the batteries down to about 1.2 volts. Okay, so what that means is, okay, you can go ahead and run it until it dries out, until it basically stops, and you won't over discharge your Eneloop cells if you're like me and you have nickel metal hydride and that's your preference. So, okay, so I think between the 3 devices overall, I have to say that this one, this Rayovac one, is the best one for the money. Aside from that finicky connector, I've been able to tolerate that simply because the device is only $12. If it were like $60 or $70, yeah, I would be like really nitpicky about that. But it's something to keep an eye out for when I use it. But at $12, given the stockpile of Eneloops batteries that I have already, I think it's a real thumbs up. These other ones from Sony, these are nice as well. It's actually easier in the sense that you just plug it in and recharge it whenever you're done using it. You don't have to lug around additional batteries like you do with this Rayovac device here. But at any rate, I think if I had to pick one, starting all over again, if I had to pick just one of them, gosh, I don't know if I could. I would kind of reluctantly pick this Rayovac simply because it's so affordable, and I'm stockpiled up on Eneloop batteries already. Although I do like the pocket carry convenience of the smaller Sony CP-V3. Okay, and hey, heck, if you've got an iPad or a Samsung Galaxy and you need like 2 amps, this one here is the only option really out of the ones that you see here on my desktop. So at any rate, thanks so once again, guys, for sitting through this, and I'll probably post up some more follow-up reviews from other products that I've managed to gather, and we'll go with that. I'll catch you later. Thanks a lot.